Sometimes in football, the scoreboard doesn't just tell the story of a game, it tells the story of an entire franchise's struggles. That was the case for the New Orleans Saints on Sunday, as they walked off the field in Seattle after a humiliating 44-13 loss to the Seahawks. A game they desperately needed to right the ship instead turned into a disaster. And now the Saints find themselves not only at 0-3, but also staring down an uncomfortable piece of NFL history. Before I tell you everything, make sure to hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing and bringing you the hottest news from your team. The biggest headline from the Saints' blowout defeat wasn't just the score. It was quarterback Spencer Rattler's place in the record books. According to ESPN's Catherine Terrell, Rattler has now become the first quarterback since Deshaun Kaiser in 2017 to lose the first 9 starts of his career. It's a brutal stat that hangs over him, even though the circumstances tell a deeper story. Rattler, who started 6 games last season when Derek Carr went down, has now added 3 more losses to begin 2025. That makes 9 straight starts without a win, and though he's shown flashes, the results remain the same, losses piling up week after week. On Sunday, Rattler's stat line looks steady but uninspiring. 28 completions on 39 attempts for 218 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He wasn't reckless, but he wasn't dynamic either. Alvin Kamara struggled to find room, finishing with 42 rushing yards on 18 carries. Chris Olave was once again the most reliable option in the passing game, catching 10 passes, but they went for only 57 yards. It was dink and dunk football that failed to threaten Seattle's secondary. Meanwhile, the Saints' defense was completely overwhelmed, giving up big plays and allowing the Seahawks to pile on points almost at will. This wasn't just a loss, it was the type of loss that forces a franchise to look in the mirror. The Saints entered the game desperate for a spark, hoping to finally earn their first win of the season, and instead were punched in the mouth from the opening kickoff. Seattle jumped ahead early, and New Orleans never found a rhythm offensively or defensively. By the time the fourth quarter arrived, the game had already been decided, and the Saints were left searching for answers once again. What makes Rattler's situation particularly difficult is the balance between his individual play and the team's struggles. He hasn't been terrible, far from it. In fact, he's been surprisingly poised at times for a young quarterback still finding his way. He's shown command of the offense, avoided many of the rookie mistakes that plagued other young QBs, and even kept his team in games during the first 2 weeks, but he hasn't been able to make the 1 or 2 plays that turn close games into wins. And now, after Sunday's blowout, his career start is being compared to one of the bleakest quarterback records of the last decade. The Saints, of course, have issues that go far beyond Rattler. Their offensive line hasn't provided consistent protection. The running game has been inefficient. Their defense, once the pride of this team, is giving up explosive plays and looking a step slow against faster offenses. In other words, Rattler isn't the sole problem, he's just the one with the stat attached to his name. Head coach Dennis Allen now faces a tough question. Do you keep riding with Rattler, knowing he's growing but struggling, or do you make a move to shake things up? Derek Carr's status looms over the conversation, but until he's fully back, the Saints' offense rests on the young quarterback's shoulders. And after Sunday, the patience of the fan base may start wearing thin. Things don't get easier either. Next week, the Saints host the Buffalo Bills, one of the AFC's powerhouses. A defense led by Josh Allen's relentless offensive counterpart is not exactly the ideal get-right game. If the Saints don't improve drastically in the trenches and find a way to generate big plays on offense, they risk falling to 0-4, a hole that even the most optimistic fans know is nearly impossible to climb out of in today's NFL. But here's the bigger picture. This is supposed to be a new era of Saints football. Young quarterback, talented weapons, and a defense built to compete in the NFC South. Instead, 3 weeks into the season, the storylines are about blowouts, losing streaks, and unwanted history. The passion of New Orleans fans is unmatched, but frustration is mounting, and the pressure is building on the organization to deliver results. So here's the real question, Saints fans. Do you believe Spencer Rattler deserves more time to grow into this role, or is it time for New Orleans to rethink its approach before this season spirals completely out of control? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss breaking Saints updates and the latest NFL news.